because he doesn't have any. The enemy doesn't understand humility. When you take on the cloak of humility, it's like the cloak of invisibility. You disappear from the enemy's radar. It's like the Polynesian races when the conquistadors would land on their islands and put their ships in the lagoons. They would be on the beach, and the natives would come out and say, "How did you get here?" And the conquistadors would point at their ships in the lagoon, but the natives could not even see the ships because they were something that they did not have the mentality, or not the intelligence, but the mentality, the familiarity to even recognize. It's like the ships were invisible. That's the way humility works. Listen, if you're facing opposition today, I can tell you this. Those who are opposing you are in pride, because contention only comes by pride. You can't do anything about that, but you can do something about yourself. Humility is it's a weapon of warfare. It's your secret weapon. Somebody said, just go low and worship. Learn to be a gatherer of information, not a dispenser of information, because knowledge puffs up. You think when you're undergoing warfare, you need to know what's going on in the enemy's camp? No, you don't, because knowledge, as Paul said, knowledge puffs up. Knowledge provokes pride. Pride goes before a fall, and contention only comes by pride. So it becomes cyclical. By being informed by what the opposition is doing, you're just immersing yourself in the problem. But don't be a part of the problem, be a part of the solution. You have to ascend above the problem. You have to ascend above the law of reciprocity into the law of love. That's what Jesus did. That's how he defeated Satan at the cross. How do we do that? Well, right before that, verse 9 of James says, "Be afflicted and mourn. Weep. Let your laughter be turned to mourning and your joy into heaviness." What happens when you do that? God inhabits the high and holy place, Isaiah 57 says, with he that is of a contrite and humble spirit. So you ascend in worship and you descend in warfare. You experience the manifestation, the substantive reality of being seated with Christ in heavenly places, far above all of that, when you choose to walk in humility. I say again, humble yourselves. And notice it says, humble yourselves in the sight of the Lord. A lot of people around you don't think you're humble. A lot of people around you, when you adopt humility as your response to enmity, will suggest that that's pride, it's stubbornness. They'll lodge all kinds of accusations against you. But understand this. You don't love people on their terms. You love people on God's terms. You don't humble yourselves in the sight of man. You humble yourself in the sight of the Lord. And then you enter into the reciprocity of heaven, and you become a Lord of the harvest over the reciprocity on the earth. Has this spoken to you? Go to fathersheartministry.net and click on the subscribe link and subscribe to the Daily Prophetic Word. I'd like to hear from you. My email is russellwalden@gmail.com. That's RussellWalden @gmail.com. If you want to provoke your faith in response to this word, then use the text to give link down in the corner. Listen, giving, sowing into a word activates your faith. It's not the only way to activate faith, but it is a powerful way to activate